Welcome back to All This Math. This is Professor Parker, and for this video, we're doing some more paycheck math, and we're going to be finding the annual salary when we are given the weekly salary. All right. Now, you can read the information on the problem in the description underneath of the video, and the question reads that we're going to find the annual salary, right? And each week, a person makes $405.20. $405.20. So let me write that down too, because that's important. All right, we're going to find the annual salary, and they make $405.20 per week. All right, so we want to find the annual salary. So annual means for the whole year, right? Now, if we know how much they make in 1 week, then we can figure out how much they make in a year in a few different ways. One way is we can just add up $405.20 for every week in a year. We can do addition if we want to, if we want to take extra time that we don't need to, right? Because, and also it's another thing. We got to think about how many weeks are there in a year, right? In a year, based on the calendar that we use in the West, right? The Gregorian calendar, I believe. There are 52 weeks. There are 52 weeks. All right, 52 weeks. So that's important information. So let's write that down too. There are 52 weeks in a year. 52 weeks in a year. So what we could do is we could do 405.20 plus 405.20 plus 405.20 plus 405.20 plus 405.20, we could do that 52 times, right? Or we could do multiplication, because multiplication is just repeated addition. Multiplication is what happens when you take a value and you're multiplying it, the same value, right? As a shortcut from adding it over and over again, you're just multiplying, right? You multiply instead of adding over and over again. So instead of adding $405.20 52 times, we can just do $405.20 times 52. So let's write that down. $405.20 times 52. Now, with a calculator, using a trusty scientific calculator, we would get $21,070.40. $21,070.40. That's what it looks like. 21,000, put the comma, $70, 0 in the hundreds place, 7 in the tens place, 0 in the ones place. And 40 cents, put the decimal point, put 40 cents. All right? That would be the answer. That would be the answer, right? Now, that's if we use a calculator. But what if we want to do this the old-fashioned way, right? Use one of our methods for multiplication. What if we want to use lattice method? Or what if we want to use partial products method? What if we want to use the area model method? What if we want to use the traditional standard algorithm for multiplication? We could do some different things. So let's do the traditional standard algorithm. All right. But this is the answer, though. This is the answer. That's the annual salary. If you make this much per week and it's 52 weeks in a year, that's something you got to know. You got to know it's 52 weeks in a year. The problem don't tell you it's 52 weeks in a year. So sometimes math problems be a little unfair because you got to already bring some information to the table. You got to already know some stuff, right? In order to figure them out, right? So hopefully if your teacher gives you a problem like this, they're giving you the prior knowledge. They're giving you the information that you need to bring to the table in order to answer the problem. So let's do this. Let's do 405.20 times 52. Now, the number that I put on top is the number with more digits. 52 only got 2 digits. So I don't put the number that has less digits on top. I put the number that's got more digits on top. So I'm going to do 405.20 times 52. Now, when we're doing multiplication, we don't line the numbers up according to decimal point. We don't do that, right? We line the numbers up as far to the right. It's like they're justified to the right. Just like we typing something on Google Docs or Microsoft Word or something, right? They're justified to the right. So we push the digits as far to the right as possible. We don't, when we do addition and subtraction, though, we line things up according to place value. So if we were doing addition and subtraction, this 2 would be underneath of this 5 because they're both in the ones place. This 5 will be underneath this 0 because the 0 and the 5 are both in the tens place. All right. But now let's do the multiplication. So we're going to do 2 times each of these digits. Then we're going to do 5 times each of these digits. And then we're going to take those two products and then add them together to get our final product. All right. So 2 times 0 is 0. Write the 0 right there. 2 times 2 is 4. Write the 4 right there. 2 times 5 is 10. Now it's a 2-digit product, right? You put the 0 down and take the 1 and carry it to the next column. 2 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 1 is 1. Right? 2 times 4 is 8. So that's our first product, 81,040. Now, we come down here to the next line. Now, notice what I'm doing here. Putting this little box in here because you are not going to write digits in that first slot on this line. You're not going to write digits in that first slot in this line. That is done. It has something to do with place value. I'm not going to get into the details of that, but just know it has to do with place value in order to keep the place value correct. All right. So 5 times 0 is 0. Put the 0 right there. 5 times 2 is 10. Another 2-digit number. Put the 0 here. Carry the 1. Now let me do this. See this one right here? We used this already. I'm going to cross that out so I don't get confused. Now, I did 5 times 0. That was 0. 5 times 2 is 10. 0 carry the 1. Okay, now I'm doing 5 times 5. 5 times 5. 5 times 5 is 25. Plus 1 is 26. Right? No. Look what I was about to do. That's a common error. Be careful with that. I was about to write the 2 and then carry the 6. See, a lot of people make that mistake. You put the digit from the 1's place down and you carry the digit from the 10's place. So you put the 6 down and then carry the 2. 5 times 0 is 0. Plus 2 is 2. 5 times 4, 20. Write your line. Now we're going to add these two products together. This long number and this long number. 0 plus nothing, that's really 0, is 0. 4 plus 0 is 4. 0 plus 0 is 0. 1 plus 6 is 7. 8 plus 2 is 10. Write the 0, carry the 1. 1 plus 0 is 1. The 2 plus nothing is 2. Right? Now, what happens when you multiply decimals? What happens when you multiply decimals? When you multiply decimals, 405.20 is a decimal. 52 is not. Right? Your product, you got to be careful because it affects your product or your final answer. Now, because one of our numbers had 2 digits to the right of the decimal point in it, that means our answer should have 2 digits to the right of the decimal point in it. So it's kind of like this. Whenever you multiply numbers that got decimals in them, this is what you got to keep in mind. You count up, first step, identify the decimal points. Identify the fact that you got numbers that was decimals. That's first. Then you count up all the digits that are to the right of the decimal point in the first number and the second number, or the multiplicand and the multiplier, or the factor, first factor, second factor, right? In the first number, you got 1, 2, 1, 2. See, there's a decimal point. Then you got 1, 2. 2 digits to the right. In this number, you don't got no digits to the right. It's just straight 52. There's an invisible decimal point right here, but it's nothing after that, right? So 2 digits after that. So altogether, you got 2 digits after the decimal point. So if altogether you got 2 digits after the decimal point, then that means in your answer, you should have 2 digits after the decimal point. So that means I'm going to take my marker and I'm going to put a decimal point right here. So now I got 1, 2, 2 digits after the decimal point. So that's what you got to keep in mind whenever you do multiplication and you're doing it manually using the traditional algorithm or what they call the standard algorithm or doing stacked multiplication. You know, it's a lot of different names for this stuff, right? You got to be careful. You got to concern yourself with the decimals, all right? Because your final answer should have a decimal in it if your factors originally had decimals in them, all right? And then we still got, notice how we still got 21,070 and 40 cents either way for the year, all right? So that's that. Again, see, I got my Malcolm X t-shirt on. Can't forget about the brother Malcolm X. Definitely check out some of his speeches. Definitely, if you're not familiar with the Ballad or the Bullet, the message to the grassroots, the last message, the speech he gave in Detroit in the Ford Theater the week before he got assassinated in 1965, you know what I'm saying, in February 1965, right? Definitely study Malcolm X. And Malcolm X is a person that definitely should be studied because he's so popular, because his name is so popular. Oftentimes what happens is we get like a McDonald's type version of people when they're very popular. The same thing has happened to Dr. King, right? Same thing has happened to Frederick Douglass, right? Same things happened to Harriet Tubman. A lot of the different people that we hear about a lot, like every Black History Month, that we hear about a lot in schools, we see pictures of them in schools and everything. Those are the people, well, I mean, we should really study everybody, but we really should study the people that are very popular even more, because oftentimes when people become popular, there are narratives that have been created about them that may not necessarily be true. So that's why we really need to go in and do our research and research primary sources. That way, listen to the words that actually came out of Malcolm X's mouth, study his speeches, listen to his speeches, read the transcripts of his speeches, read books that have been written about him from credible sources as well. All right. So definitely want to say, give a shout out to the ancestor Malcolm X, and definitely practice doing your multiplication of numbers with decimals in them, and also practice with Paycheck Math, right? Because it's very relevant, right? Very relevant. All right. I'll see you on the next video. Peace.